I see dead people.
Hot shit.
Here's Johnny.
Stop.
We have such sights to show you.
Bring the motherfucking ruckus. Fuck you too.
Alright, today on the show I have Steve Buscemi. Yeah, anything to say, Steve?
Give me your bacon.
I say Steve's pretty tired.
Mm-hmm.
Probably gonna start snoring in the middle of this.
Mm-hmm.
Gonna have to relocate him.
We'll pick it up.
Gonna have to shake him around.
Aw.
Shake the dust out.
Don't shake the baby.
I was gonna start by saying, "What's up, fuckers?" But obviously we're having a pretty chillax morning.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I like to say that I'm a pretty chillax guy.
Mm-hmm.
Would you not agree? That
No,
I'm
I agree.
That I'm a pretty chillax guy.
You are a pretty chillax guy.
Would you agree that I'm a pretty chillax guy?
I would say you're a pretty chillax kind of man.
That's fair. That's the same, essentially the same thing. You could even say that I'm a pretty chillax woman, and I would accept it.
When in Rome.
We don't have to get into genders. We don't have to.
When in
You
Rome.
know, I identify as a human being. Doesn't matter what's between my legs, Afternoon Groom. Doesn't matter how attracted you are to my heaving tits. Alright? He's getting handsy.
You leave
That's what I'm saying.
Leave my disorder alone.
You
I have a titty
think I'm taking
deficiency.
advantage of you? Is that what you think this is?
I have a titty deficiency.
You think I invite you here to be
It's-
taken advantage
It's
of?
more of the tism issues.
Yeah, the tittyism issues.
Oh my god.
You think I'm inviting you here to just use you? I invite you to criticism. I invite you just for the opportunity to point and laugh at you. Well, you're right.
Yeah.
I do that. You're right.
Let's all laugh at the return.
Oh my god.
You're not retarded. You're regarded.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh my god.
Regarded as retarded.
Oh my god.
Don't make me call Jinping about this
Oh
shit.
my god.
He's in the corner.
The Chinese government will be down on you before you could say, "Quaint, quaint, quaint, quaint." Yeah, I've been thinking about this episode for a little bit now, because ever since the last time I came over, you were here, but you weren't like on the episode.
He wasn't reading.
You sat with us, you listened to the story.
He
but
played
it
the
wa-
shower game.
But it was, yeah, he played the shower game, which is a game he's good at.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone knows that he's good at the shower
I'm
game.
phenomenal. I have no losses.
But truthfully, the last time that I was here, you were just kind of like, all right, but I can get on the next one, right? And I was like, yeah, sure, totally. Like, we'll get you on the next one.
Fuck you.
And I wasn't totally lying to your face right then and there. I might have been lying, is what I'm saying. But here we are. And we got the whole family on the couch. We got Midnight Bride.
Hello.
We have Afternoon Groom.
Hello.
And we have mystery surprise third guest Steve Buscemi.
Yep.
Bambuna.
Bambuna. Sprinkle bear.
Sprinkle Shug. Honey Badger baby girl.
No one knows what you guys are talking about, so
Yeah.
you might as well just tell them
It's a bossy.
that you got a little bossy.
Yeah. She's been on the show. She was on the show with us last time. She snored. You could sometimes hear her like little snores.
And I'm sure we all smelled her
Yeah.
the first time that we recorded.
Yeah.
In your
At my house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
in your personnel studio.
Yeah. We're coming from the Great White North here. We're broadcasting on a nice chilly February afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
We're all full of bacon.
Yep.
And some of us are more showered than others.
Yep.
As we already previously mentioned.
You'll be showered later.
Like I said, I've been thinking about this episode for a little while. I think I wanted to, especially based off of the last episode we did, which was Good Dog.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So Good Dog was fun. It was one of the last times, I read like a singular story throughout like an entire episode. I don't tend to do that. I want to do that more, but of course that's not what we're doing today. 'Cause with you guys, I don't want to split like a story between the three of us unless I knew that we had characters for like all three of us, and that's a lot of work. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to be lazy, and I'm going to pick a bunch of random stories that I think have fun titles, and I'm just going to force you to read them. Like a classic episode. Like one of our original episodes. I'm going to give you no choice. You have no free will.
That's okay.
Your fate is predetermined.
This is like high school all over again.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. I'm the teacher telling you to channel your autism into what we're doing here today.
The teacher telling me to take my clothes off and tell nobody about it.
Well, okay, I didn't say that.
Oh my goodness! All right.
But we
we can talk about that later.
I was gonna say, like,
that's
where
the
do I
story
seg
we're gonna
from
read
this?
for next time.
Oh
Where do I seg from this? No, we're not reading unsettling stories. We're not doing those today. That would be an unsettling story.
Or a great story, depending on however you look
No,
at
I mean unsettling from category. Like,
Yeah.
gross out.
Yeah.
I was making a joke about you being naked being gross out horror to me.
I'm some buff stuff, buddy.
I bet you are. I bet you are. You're married, by the way.
Oh yeah, we are.
Yeah.
We're married.
We are?
That's fair.
I don't want to steal Sofa King's like shtick
Yeah, but I like had Sofa Queen like
in the background.
tell us about a couple thoughts she had during his last episode. But you guys are actual characters on the show.
Yeah.
I'm allowed. It's not a shtick. We're not stealing anything. He doesn't have the capital on marriage.
I don't know. He might argue with you on that. No.
Is he married?
Yeah, I think he patented
Nah.
that. Did he patent that?
No, he only patented chocolate couches.
Oh, I do
melt,
remember that.
That melt like pretty much immediately the minute you buy them.
Yeah, he said that he was like going into bankruptcy, and yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Who would marry that?
I don't know.
A tarp.
A term.
Yeah, good point.
No, Sofa Queen. She supports him.
Yeah.
I
So
think it's a chilly day.
we're here. We're talking shit. That's what we do best, you know. We're all about spreading rumors and baking bread. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
We
Afternoon
actually
Groom?
did bake bread
We actually
yesterday.
did make bread yesterday. That's why I'm saying that.
But it's not real
I wasn't
bread.
being metaphorical. No,
'Cause
it
it's
was real
gluten-free
bread.
bread.
Well, I mean, it's still bread, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
it's still bread.
You can ask
still
your
bread.
mom if she likes it or not.
No one talks about my mom that way.
My mom.
My mom.
You know who else likes gluten-free bread?
My mom.
Mom.
Actually, she did like it. She did thank Afternoon Groom
For his contributions to society.
Yeah,
That's fair.
Bread Society.
Bread
Yeah.
Society. Yeah.
Break bread.
Mhm.
Why do they say that in religion?
Break bread, get head.
Breaking. Well, you know, they might not say that in religion, but breaking bread is like sharing a meal with an enemy. Is that the? Or
Well,
Yeah.
not necessarily an enemy, but someone who like might not agree with you on all things.
yeah, it's like
I think it's like the hospitality thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
You're in their house. No one's gonna fight. You don't
You're gonna
kill.
break
You don't kill
bread.
your host.
Instead of breaking necks,
Yeah, you're breaking
cashing
bread.
checks,
Mix.
Well, technically, we were
tax men.
yesterday. We were breaking s'more cookies.
Yeah, technically we're breaking s'more cookies.
Yeah.
S'more cookie hybrids. If anyone knows, if anyone wants to know, I guess I should say, one of the most delicious baked treats one can make, I'll walk it through you real quick. Piece of graham cracker, chocolate, marshmallow. You think, oh, we're making s'mores? That's fucking easy. I don't need you to tell me the instructions to that on your fucking podcast. Wrong! What you then get is cookie dough.
Chocolate chips in it.
Like chocolate chip cookie dough, like you're about to make a bunch of chocolate chips, but instead you take 2 times the amount, flatten it out, and drape it over the marshmallow chocolate graham cracker. You put those bitches in a preheated oven at 350 for about 15-20 minutes. Keep an eye on it. That's more of the point.
Yeah.
You wait until those motherfuckers are golden brown. That marshmallow is supposed to like melt down and kind of pool in there or bubble in there, and then of course the chocolate melts into the graham cracker, but you have a s'more hidden in your chocolate chip cookie, and you break that shit open, so gooey, so fresh, so good.
It was pretty good. My first time making them, and they were okay.
Alley Cat made me so many of them for my birthday last year that I ate like 4 or 5 of them.
Oh my god, I only
And
had one.
she made like 20 of them.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
And brought them into the office, and that's where
Oh,
I
okay.
have
Oh,
them for.
okay.
I was. You just have to consume 16 more.
No, I claimed them. I picked up like several of them at once, and I started to hide them because I didn't want other people to walk up and keep taking more of them. Like, they were mine.
These
they were
are
made for me.
my cookies.
Okay.
I'm not sharing.
Yeah, that's what I said. But anyway, we're making some s'mores cookies. We're playing some games, having a good time, and it was getting a little late last night, and Midnight Bride, it was right her time. Right around midnight, she's saying, "Hey, it'd be really cool if we recorded." And instead, I went out and I smoked a blunt with Afternoon Groom, and we didn't record. Because I'm a slacker and I'm easily manipulated, and I give in to peer pressure just as much as I deal it out. So,
and then you came back in and ate Parmesan truffle fries.
No, we did.
which-
We ate
which
Parmesan
were-
truffle
yeah.
fries.
which were fantastic.
Absolutely.
So yeah, we went to bed, woke up, ate some bacon, ate some breakfast, and now we're here, full tum, ready to record.
Yep.
Steve Buscemi flew in from New York, wanted to come and record with us. He's feeling pretty quiet though,
Yeah.
I don't mean to misgender him because it's clearly a girl, but
Yeah.
You don't know what's between
I
his
just
legs.
think I just think your dog kind of looks like a little gargoyle gremlin bat creature.
She is.
She's a Boston Terrier.
one of the most
She does
beautiful
make she does
things
she
you'll
does
ever
make
see.
gremlin noises though sometimes. She does.
Yep.
She does make gremlin noises.
She has twinkle
Especially
eyes.
out her butt.
Yeah,
Yes.
she does. Yeah.
The French horn.
Yeah.
That's fair. Alright, so Afternoon Groom, it's been a while since you came on here. I think we've only ever had you on 1 or 2 episodes, right?
Yeah.
Maybe even just the one.
It's true.
I remember reading stories about kids being put in
Bags.
unfortunate situations. Yeah, there was bags and there was stranger danger.
Classroom. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
No,
And the ghost
I
in
don't
the
know if
hotel.
there's a theme for this one. I think I legitimately just picked 6 random stories, and we're really just gonna get a mixed fucking bag today. So it could go a bunch of different ways, but if I were to ask you, Afternoon Groom, to describe this show to someone else, what would you say? Just to put you on the spot for a little bit.
I'd say, have you heard of Jesus?
Okay, tell me more.
It's like he's like a surfer dude. He's cool. He's laid back. Just he's searching the summer for that perfect wave.
Oh my god.
That's what this show is.
That's what
You
the
just
show
ride.
is.
As much as I like the words that you're saying, I like the words that you're saying, but I also have to admit at the very same time that I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Yeah, I don't know half the time.
That's the thing.
either.
That's the surface. You got to get past that.
You
Once
gotta
get
get
in.
past the surface.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's the deeper level there? What's the subterranean?
Subterranean is like 50% bubbles, 20% ingloobly blands,
Okay.
and a little mixture of laughter and
And a
giggles.
lot of spaghetti and meatballs.
A lot of spaghetti meatballs.
Oh, okay.
A lot
yeah.
of spaghetti and meatballs.
And
Yeah.
maybe a slight touch of the tism.
Yeah.
Okay.
But if I
so
was
what
to-
you're saying is we're recording a fucking bunch of spaghetti and meatballs.
Oh yeah, a lot of spaghetti.
But if I had to tell
and
somebody
meatballs,
to watch this or listen to the podcast, I would say you're in for a good time.
yeah, definitely a good time.
You're gonna laugh. You might cry. might pee your pants a little bit.
You might also throw up a little bit in your mouth.
But at the end of the day,
Yeah.
you're gonna walk away and you're gonna be like, hey, I learned something today.
Mm-hmm. The more you
I like to hear your kind of like door-to-door salesman pitch on this, because we had guests over last night and you were trying to pitch the show to someone who like already listens to creepypasta. Like they already admitted that they listen to like the kind of like monotone, just like I'm gonna read a story kind of creepypasta. And I was just like, well, we're not that.
We're not like we read
We're
the
not
stories.
that.
We read the stories, but it's like if you really boil it down, I'd say it's like if you like horror stuff, if you like listening to podcasts, if you like horror stuff and podcasts and kind of like, you know, some of that
Then
stuff.
this is the wrong show for you.
Yeah.
It's like talking with friends about it, because like we like joke about it, like you said, and it's like we have a good time about it.
I've always described the show as like sitting around the campfire trying to read each other's spooky stories. You know? The campfire's now digital. We're all together around the same campfire across time and space because that's how the internet works.
Yeah.
So, you know, we have listeners in Canada. We have someone who's been listening to the shit out of our stuff up in Canada. And then, you know, we have listeners all over the world, Australia, New Zealand, fucking France. I get a bunch of hits from France and Belgium and all these other fucking places all the time. So, you know, people are just out there to listen to some spooks, you know, hear some thoughts about it, and probably, you know, I'm just going to account for it here, get a little stupid.
Yeah.
I'm here to get a little stupid, you know what I'm saying? I'm not the smartest guy. I'm not the smartest guy ever, okay? I like to get a little stupid.
Don't we all?
So, yeah, no, especially Afternoon Groom.
Oh, yes, 100%.
You know, if we're talking about people who like to get stupid.
Say no
What
more.
is that thing you said?
What was I saying
You kept saying like, Midnight Bride, don't apologize, but I understand when you're apologizing for Afternoon
Well, that's
Groom.
you know
Yeah.
that's you know that's about your marriage. That's
Yeah.
that's about your life. That's about the life you live. That's
Yeah.
not so much. That's not so much him being stupid. You know, when I'm talking about getting stupid, you know, I'm talking about you know, smoking a little hashish.
Well, that was the two of you.
Smoking a little baba ganoush, you know what I'm saying? A little,
Skunk.
well, skunky Earlman, you know. Yeah, so that probably brings me to, my favorite intro. I want everyone, you know, wherever you are, whatever you're listening to right now, you know, I want you to curl up with your favorite, Steve Buscemi movie. And I want you to put
Spy
it on in the
Kids.
background. Yeah, sure.
Spy Kids.
That's Spy Kids 2, specifically.
Yeah. Yes.
And 3. He's in the third one.
Is he in the yeah, he shows up for like a second at the end. Yeah.
Cameo, I guess.
Yeah. You know, put it on mute because you're not watching it. Just put it on in the background is what I'm saying.
Ambiance.
And continue
Ambience.
listening to us. Ambience.
Ambulance.
And you know, I want you to roll up the most basti of basti hog legs you've ever rolled. All right? Because this is fucking Boston. And you get the fuck out of here. All right? And I want you to smoke that fucking hog stick.
We're Bosty in here.
We basti in here.
How's your mother? Tell her I was asking about it. Can I get
Fuck your mother.
Can I get you a beer?
How about a cup of 2-3 beers?
It's Marky Mark.
And I want you to smoke. I want you to drink. I want you to get twisted. I don't care if you're at work. I don't care if you're behind the wheel of an automobile.
Oh my god.
I don't care if you are wanted for murder in 3 different states. Okay, I might care about that last one. I don't know why I didn't, I don't know why I said
Turn
that.
yourself in.
Well, you should probably turn yourself in.
But you should also,
Or go on the run.
Yeah.
Never get caught. Never surrender.
But don't miss your episodes of Spaghetti and Meatballs. Though.
Yeah, that's what we're really saying here is that if you're gonna be twisted, you might as well listen to some Spaghetti and Meatballs. You know what I'm saying?
Because every listener, every person, every listener, 1 penny is donated to any donatable charity of Captain Death's foundation.
Nope. I lose money doing this. Frankly, this is the worst investment of my life.
Oh my god.
But if we're being real about it, we do have a merch store. We have a merch store that we don't talk about a lot. If you want to go to a merch store,
1% of that sales goes to
about 25 to 27% of that sale goes to me. So.
Yeah.
1% of that
make
of
good
that
$2 or
sales
$3
is donated to the Ronald McDonald Grimace House.
Exactly what he
Captain
just
America.
said. Everything of that is true. Every word he just spoke is true.
That's gold.
Oh my god.
All right, Afternoon Groom, you're going to read the first story first because I thought of you when I saw this title. It's just a little smiley face.
Ooh. That does sound like him. Just a smiley face.
Okay, it's just this one page?
No, there's more pages.
This story is technically called :D, but you know how, like, when you do an emoji, it's like the smiley face.
Yeah.
It's not the
you turn it
the grinning.
sideways.
Yeah, it's the grinning emoji, not the smiley face emoji. Like
The mouth open.
Yeah, the mouth
tongue.
open, teeth smile emoji. Mm-hmm. Take it away.
Okay.
Whenever you're ready.
Fuck this shit. Fuck. I'm typing this in my parents' bedroom because I just saw something that made my balls shrink. Relatable.
Sounds like you wrote this.
Yeah.
I'm 18 years old. Hang on.
Hang on.
Back up. I'm 18 years old. It was 2 a.m. in the morning. My parents were out for the night for their anniversary, and my sister was at her friend's house. I was playing Star Wars: The Old Republic, and was fucking around in PvP when I heard the most abnormal scream come from right under my bed. Now, usually after a person experiences this kind of shit, he would A, get the fuck out of there and scream till he sees another person, or B, stay calm and get away from it. Believe me, I think my pants were instantaneously soaked when that scream pierced my ears. I thought it was one of my tabs that I forgot to close, or just some spam that has happened to open up on my browser. The logical me then realized that I was too realistic for it to come from the computer, and ta-da, it must come from real world LOL. And I fucking looked down to check under the bed and was greeted by what must be the most terrifying face I had ever seen. It kind of looked like a person who stretched their fucking eyes to abnormal heights and with a grin so huge that it covered half of its face. Its skin was pure white and red marks on its eyes and lips. And lipstick? Oh, its mouth. Just talking about it makes my pants wet. To give an image, it kind of looked like Jeff the Killer. Yeah, that's what my fucking thought was too. And a baby with the smiling dog. That makes sense too. Oh, with bigger eyes. Bigger balls.
Oh my god.
In your case, yeah.
Well, they shriveled.
It
says, I don't have an option here. I'm just for the ride. As I screamed and tumbled off the bed, I went myself even further.
Oh my god.
This thing rotated its head 360 degrees and began scuttling out from under the bed on all fours at NASCAR speed. Right through the fucking wall. I instantaneously got up and ran the fuck out of there like a free bacon giveaway. Oh, free bacon? Free bacon giveaway was in my parents' room. I didn't dare look back because I know it was chasing me due to the sound of its fucking legs hitting the ceiling. All he's got to do is turn right. NASCARs can only go left.
Yeah, that's a good
that's
point.
true. That's very true.
That's how you use logic against a monster.
Mm-hmm.
I slammed the door in its white face and locked it. Instantly regretted that decision. Now I'm trapped. I've been here for 15 minutes, and I can hear it knocking on the door, impersonating as my parents. I'm so scared for my life. I already called the police, but nobody is picking up. I just want to post this shit before it gets too...
Smiley face.
Smiley face.
Before it gets to, and then it breaks, and then all that's left is smiley face.
All that's left is smiley face. There
Yeah,
you go.
I
Big grinning smiley face.
I just want to post this shit before it gets to, and then it just stops, and then all that you have is a little smiley face, like 2 lines below. I like stuff like that.
Yeah.
I know it's quick, I know it's dumb, I know it's simple, but in my head, that's what made, like, creepypasta fun in the first place, is it makes you want to check under your bed.
Yeah.
It makes you want to check the closet. Like, when we went to bed last night, you were like, by the way, it gets hot in here, so you could keep this door open to this completely other dark, spooky room. I was like, nah, fuck you, close that door. I don't want anyone walking in here.
Do you want it locked? Yes.
Yeah, you literally asked me when you were done going to the bathroom. You're like, you want me to lock it? And I was like, yes, please.
Yes, please.
I mean, I do the same thing.
Yeah.
I think my cousin who came
But
over
then it
last
got
night-
so hot that, like, I woke up in the middle of the night to take a piss.
I did, yeah.
And when I was done, I was like, I need to leave this open. Someone wants to come in and diddle me while I'm sleeping. They're more than fucking welcome to try.
We had the alarm set, so it's fine. But
I don't...
Unless they're in the house already.
I was gonna say.
unless they're in the house already.
The call is coming from inside my butthole.
Oh my god.
Bring, bring.
Bring,
Hello.
bring.
It's a
Hello.
shark.
Hello.
It's a shark.
Oh my god.
Hello.
Which we were talking about that yesterday too. But
Well, I mean, if we need to get into the conversation, I just want to briefly say
the fear.
that most people should fear shitting themselves. You never know when it's going to happen. That's the problem. No one starts their day saying, I'm going to shit myself.
No.
It
Yeah.
just happens.
What about a baby, though?
They're not even like aware.
They don't even know how to use words, dude.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. That's the thought, though.
But
It
they're not
matters.
afraid to shit themselves.
Yeah, it's a good
They're
point.
That's
not,
what I mean,
they're
they're
not
not afraid.
aware. It's fine.
It's the thought that matters.
Oh my god.
It's the thought that matters. Goo goo gaga ga. Poo poo in my pants. Okay, we're gonna move this one to.
I liked it.
Yeah.
I had a short story that I was... Well, it's up to you, though. I have a short story that we could also read if you're up for it. It's not long.
What do you mean?
That we could also read here on today.
Would you find one?
You have a story that you want to read
Yes.
on the show?
That we could read. We can all read. It's not long. It's a very short one. I've seen somebody cover it like years ago. It was like only 2 minutes, so it's a very short story.
Oh, this isn't the hat one, is it?
Oh, are you getting into Hat Man?
No, it's not. It's not the hat.
We're not getting into Hat Man.
No,
Okay.
this is called.
Tell me the
Crayon.
title of the story and I'll look at it real quick.
Crayon.
What?
It's called the Crayon, I think.
The crayon. Oh, I think you talked about that once before.
Is it The Crayons?
The Crayons, yeah.
Okay, well, this is a first. Afternoon Groom wants to read another short story. So the story begins. A married couple who had just returned from their honeymoon decided to buy a house. The couple was very happy because they managed to get a house at a very cheap price. Is that the story that you're talking about?
Yes. It was in a nice neighborhood, close to the city, and just a short walk from a shopping center. One day, the husband was walking down the hall when he spotted a red crayon laying on the floor. The couple didn't have any children, so the husband wondered where the crayon had come from. Perhaps the previous residents left it behind, he said to himself as he casually threw it in the trash. The next day, the husband came home from work to find another red crayon laying in the exact same spot. He was very puzzled and decided to ask his wife about it. The wife grew pale in the face when he brought it up. She told him that every day since they first moved into the house, she had been finding red crayons when she was cleaning. They were always laying in the same spot at the end of the hall. The husband was standing in the hall, wondering about this weird phenomenon, when he began to notice something was not quite right. The hallway was too short. He tapped on the wall at the end of the hallway and heard a hollow sound. Curious, he began peeling off the wallpaper despite the protest of the wife. Behind the wall, they found a pair of sliding doors. It was as if someone had carefully hidden the entrance to a closet or a small room. The husband discovered that the sliding door had been nailed shut. He got a hammer from his toolbox and began prying out the nails one by one. After pulling out the last nail, he slowly opened the sliding door to reveal the small hidden room. Looking inside, they saw that the white walls of the little space were covered with words scribbled in red crayon. Over and over again, the words, "Mommy, I'm sorry, let me out. Mommy, I'm sorry, let me out. Mommy, I'm sorry, let me out."
Yeah.
Did you write that?
No.
Is that a story about your childhood?
No, it was a green crayon. It was actually...
it was a green crayon.
I write in shit.
Oh my god.
What made you want to read that?
I wanted to bring it last time we recorded. Because I remember you said to bring stories. And this was a short one. I thought that was a good one. I remember hearing that one like years ago. And I was like, that's a really good one. It's very short.
I've never heard that one.
And it's
a good one.
It's a really good one. It's like one of those ones that kind of, I feel like it's a short story where it's not just thrown, together. There's like a really solid premise of it. It's like there's a build up enough where it's like
leaves a lot to the imagination.
Yeah, there's enough there. It covers a lot of bases for me. Like you can, it's like what happened. It's like there's like like she said. It's left to the imagination. It's short enough where it's like you can just sit down and just read it in 5 minutes. Mm-hmm. And it's like there's enough build up in my opinion to where it's like, they don't just throw it at you. This last one I read, like with the kid under the bed, it's not bad. I like that. I think that's pretty cool how it ends. I think they could have added a little bit more, like a paragraph before to set it up.
Yeah, I mean, that one is very much more of like a 2-sentence horror story. Like, I was reading a story on the internet one day and it said, "Don't turn around, she's already behind you." I turned around. Mm-hmm. Story ends.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just taking a trope that already exists and just going a little bit further with it. We've seen it hundreds of times,
You're okay.
That was me, Steve. All right.
Yeah, good for him. You tell him.
Good job, Steve.
You tell him.
Listen, Boardwalk Empire is a good show. You have nothing to be upset about.
Your ratings are going up as we speak.
All right, I'm going to move over to Midnight Bride, and I realize I saved this story at one point.
Oh, okay.
For Cannibal Siren, so I'm sure she'll appreciate you taking this one.
Okay.
Take the reins.
This one I saved for you because I feel like with the treats you made yesterday, you were walking around bitching that you couldn't find brown sugar anywhere.
I just use sugar in the raw, so.
So what I found is, and I've had this story like forever. This is one of the older stories that I've had that I just haven't read yet. Mm-hmm. I don't know what to think about the title. The title makes me say, like, what risk is going to be involved? Because the title almost implies that something's going to happen. Like, the title is just, like, what makes you say that.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Mm-hmm. The title is The Price of Sugar.
That's actually a really scary title.
The Price of Sugar.
It's because of inflation.
Yeah, like,
That's
is
real.
it $4?
Or is it
$14?
Depends on what brand you're getting.
Or does it cost a little bit more?
Like a finger.
Like your life.
Yeah, I mean, you know, if we're gonna escalate that quickly.
I mean, in this economy.
I can hold it for you if you want, or you can
I
hold it.
can hold it. I got it. Thank you.
So I'm gonna let Midnight Bride read The Price of Sugar.
Mm-hmm.
When I was a little girl, if you'd asked me what I wanted to be, starving artist wouldn't have been on the list. Sounds accurate.
No wonder why he picked you.
Most likely, I would have told you a dinosaur or an astronaut. And later, when I realized that children couldn't become dinosaurs and brown girls from New Zealand couldn't become astronauts, I would have said a teacher or a nurse. At school, I got progressively worse at every subject but English and art. But in my teens, my auntie got me a part-time job as a cleaner at the local hospital. I thought at the time that the money wasn't too awful, and I was good at it. I enjoyed cleaning, even if sometimes what I was cleaning was explosive diarrhea or blood-laced vomit. Yummy. After a while, I got used to most of the smells, well, except for
Colostomy.
Clostridium difficile.
Oh, Clostridium difficile. Otherwise known as C. diff.
Oh, yeah, no.
C. diff.
I heard C. diff.
Yep. We all know what that is.
Yep. But thankfully, I really had to clean up after one of those patients. Eventually, my minimum wage salary let me quit school and rent a tiny, grimy, one-bedroom place in a block off concrete flats. When I wasn't working or sleeping, I made art to sell down at the markets on Saturday morning. And so I became a poor part-time artist. There are certain staples every poor person needs in their cupboards. Potatoes and rice were mine. Both were dirt cheap and could be made into a variety of dishes. Growing up with equally poor parents and strictly enforced gender roles meant that Mom had taught me early on how to cook dishes that would stretch for several meals. Rice is great, she had said. You can have it sweet for breakfast and you can have it plain for lunch and dinner. And cabbage. Everything seemed to have cabbage in it. Oof. Oof. That's one thing I don't
It's like the Irish dinner. She says
Cabbage.
she's a brown girl from New Zealand?
Yep. Whatever. Cabbage is
Could
cabbage.
not begin to assume what people in New Zealand eat. I'll have to have that conversation with Kitty.
Yeah, I was
So,
gonna say, yeah. But I still had my luxuries in my tiny flat. A jar of peanut butter, some wild Manuka honeycomb from my uncle up north, and a big jar of raw sugar for my cups of tea. You'll understand then why I was upset when ants started coming inside. Ooh, God, ants. They were really small things, some of the smallest ants I had ever seen. When I got up in the morning, they would be swarmed around the tiniest crumb of dropped food, dividing it up and carrying it back to their nest in a steady brown-black pilgrimage of little bodies. I didn't begrudge them at first. I knew what it was like to be hungry, and I could appreciate more than most people that they were cleaning up my mess, doing me a service. But when they ate a hole clean through the paper of my spare bag of raw sugar, I decided I had enough. Borax and sugar, I discovered, was a good homemade ant killer. We had plenty of borax-based cleaning products at work for clearing drains and dissolving really stubborn filth. So I mixed up a solution as the internet instructed me, then left it in a saucer on the kitchen bench.
I've done this.
Have you really?
Yeah, not for ants, but I've done this when we had like fly issues. You can do. It's not. I didn't do borax, but I did like. You could buy a couple of your household cleaners and then put sugar water, like in a cup, and then kind of lace the water and like the cup with different chemicals, and so they'll be attracted to the sugar water, try to cling to like the side of the cup and then fall into the chemicals and like die.
See, at my mom's place, like, I don't know, it was like every spring when it would get really wet, these giant ants would come in the house. They called them carpenter ants, and I actually had one bite me.
Oh,
They have venom. They're
fuck
like,
them.
yeah, it was big, and like,
So this story,
yeah, but they weren't tiny. They were like big ones, like really big.
well,
like,
big enough to bite. So,
yeah, they're nasty, but
The real problem was that they weren't paying rent.
yeah,
So
Yeah.
the
But-
price of like their housing
Bunch of
mortgage
machine
they
rent
can
guns.
also get in
Yeah.
your walls, and they
Yeah.
eat the wood too.
So they're like termites almost.
Almost, but they're not this. But my mom would lay stuff around the perimeter of the house, and we haven't really had them in a while. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, they get bad. It didn't take long for my tiny unwelcome guest to find it. An hour later, a pair of ants ambled across the clean white formica and found the saucer. According to my research, they would feed on it, then carry it back to the nest where others would join the chain until the poison had filled their home. All going well, they would be dead within a week, and I wouldn't have a bug problem anymore. So when one ant supped at the poison, then settled down on the edge of the saucer beside a companion, I wondered if I'd mixed too strong and killed the ant outright. But continued observation showed it was still alive, grooming its antennae and legs, patiently waiting under the apparent supervision of its friend. Using the opportunity to study a rarely quiescent ant, I took out my sketchbook and started drawing them, while I perched on the sole chair in my flat. By the time I was yawning and craving my bed, the two ants were still sitting patiently on the edge of the saucer. In the morning, when I emerged for a cup of tea after my shower, the saucer remained untouched, only the body of the poisoned ant remaining, its legs curled up against its body in a strangely fetal death pose. My attempt to poison the nest had failed. The next week, they ripped another hole in the sugar bag, which I'd placed inside a plastic bag, oh wow, and emptied half the contents. Incensed, I hung the bag from a hook in the laundry roof. The next morning, the empty bag lay forlornly on the floor, not a single grain of sugar remaining. Frustrated, I went out and bought some proper ant bait from the supermarket, along with another bag of sugar. When I got home, I placed the bait on the floor of the pantry and the sugar bag in a bowl, which was in turn placed in a larger bowl full of water. The family of sugar thieves was about to get their comeuppance. I slept fitfully, the bedroom door wide open, irrationally listening for the sounds of tiny intruders. Some part of me was convinced that they were conspiring against me. I had fragmented dreams of oversized ants crawling through my cupboards, chewing holes through glass and plastic, eating all the food they could find. Eventually I got up, unable to sleep, and stumbled to the kitchen for a glass of water. As the light flickered on, I saw movement. The sugar bag had been removed from the bowl and lay sideways on the bench. Oh no. Ants scattered madly across the counter, scurrying away to any crack or cranny they could find, their mouths no doubt full of my sugar. Thinking quickly, I grabbed a glass from the sink and placed it over the top of one of the trailing ants, who had just emerged from the nearly empty bag. I caught one of the little thieves. It was definitely watching me. Wherever I went, it positioned itself so that it had a clear view of me through the glass. If I came close, if I looked at it, the ant would rear up on its legs and tap the glass with its one good antennae. The other one had been bent by the glass coming down on it. "I'm not letting you go," I told it. "Not until you stop thieving my sugar." Tap, tap, tap. I realized that it was much, much bigger than the ants that had first come into the house. Yeah, they get big. This one was glossy and dark, as though freshly polished with boot black. The enlarged features lent its face anthropomorphic qualities that made me uncomfortable keeping it in the glass prison. "I could kill you, you know," I continued, "but I'm not going to. I'll make you a deal. I'll put a little bowl of clean sugar outside the front door at night, and you can eat that. Just leave my stuff alone. The ant stared at me through the glass. Okay. Tap, tap, tap. With a sigh, I lifted the glass. The ant's good antennae wiggled furiously for a second. Then it industriously trundled away and disappeared into the crack beneath the stove and the bench. Whether it had truly understood me, I don't know. But the outside feeding bowl was working. At night, the ants would crowd around the bowl, then chain gang, then chain gang the ants.
Let's start that line.
Yeah.
You just went Jing Ping over.
I
Yeah,
did.
Jing Ping Ching.
At night, the ants would crowd around the bowl, then chain gang the entire contents back to their nest. As though satisfied with this arrangement, they left my kitchen alone. I laughed at the whole idea. It was like tiny
Insectoid mafia
Yep.
racket, which is exactly what I was gonna say. It's
Oh,
like
really?
it's like the person is paying them off.
Yeah.
He's literally saying, "Oh no, don't come in and rob me. I promise. I'll leave you an offering. I'll leave it
Yeah.
outside. You can take that. Just leave me alone, please."
Yeah, that's kind of how.
And then they come in and they steal your daughter.
Oh my god. It's gonna escalate real
They
quick.
take her dog. Ah!
I don't think she has one.
Well, I'm
I'm
making a joke
hoping
about
not.
you.
Oh no, don't steal my fucking dog.
No, they won't get my dog.
Oh my
I'll
god.
kill them all.
Get a flamethrower. Oh my god.
I got one.
So long as I gave them their cut of the sugar on the regular, they left me alone. But even though I was happy enough with the deal, someone else wasn't. Oh no. My neighbor Charles.
Oh, okay.
An older gentleman of European heritage, Charles didn't have much time for people like me. If I had my cheap portable stereo up too loud, he would hammer on my door with his walking stick until I turned it down. I couldn't even watch TV at a decent volume, so instead I just watched pirated movies on my crappy phone with headphones in. The commotion outside definitely included the strident, petulant voice of Charles yelling about something. Opening the door, I found him on my doorstep. A smashed sugar bowl kicked halfway down the concrete path.
They're gonna eat this guy.
Yeah. And the squashed bodies of fat ants strewn around my threadbare doormat. You stupid darky. Oh my goodness.
Oh fuck.
Oh wow. He roared at me, "You bloody ignorant savage." Oh my god.
Let me read. these
Yeah,
lines.
oh my
Let me-
goodness.
Hang on.
You stupid darky.
So you're telling me the hobbits in New Zealand are racist?
You bloody ignorant savage.
Evening, Charles.
What the hell are you doing feeding ants, you stupid woman?
Keeps them out of my house, I started explaining, but he cut me off.
I'll tell the ruddy landlord about this. He'll have your guts for garters. You'll be evicted by the end of the week, you mark my words.
Good night, Charles, I said, smiling tightly and closing the door in his face. He ranted for a while after that, then fell silent, heading back to his flat. In the morning, all the bodies of the ants were gone, and a completely repaired sugar bowl sat neatly on my doormat. I didn't hear anything from the landlord, nor from Charles. I didn't dare feed the ants again, for fear of causing more trouble. Almost 3 weeks after the incident, a lone fat ant wended its way across the kitchen bench and sat beside my cup of tea. With its good antennae, it touched the surface of my cup. Tap, tap, tap. Then it ambled away, unconcernedly, and disappeared down the crack it had crawled from. That night I left a bowl of sugar outside, and in the morning there was a surprise for me. Sitting in the empty bowl was a beautifully creamy white pendant. I tried my hand at bone carving, but despite my artistic talents, I had never been very good at it. Whoever had made this piece was a true artist. It was a flawless double spiraled covered in tiny, intricate etched whorls and patterns, much like the ones worn by my ancestors. And every morning after that one, a new bone carving appeared, just as beautiful and cunningly crafted as the last. They sell well at the market, the pendants, well enough to keep my little friends in sugar for a lifetime. The police never found out what happened to Charles. They say the forensics could find nothing, no sign of forced entry, no signs of struggle. It was as if the old man had simply disappeared. The new neighbor turned up on Saturday, a sour-faced old woman. On the very first night, she bashed on the wall and yelled obscenities when I turned on my TV. I can't wait to take her to market.
I can't wait to take her to market.
I was gonna say, as soon as they said bone pendant, I was like,
So usually I worry about I worry about narrators in these stories a lot because I just always feel like they're the ones with the targets on their backs. But I do love a kind of like creep show twist where it's more so that they're just viewers of something unnatural. The unnatural thing isn't so much happening to them, they're just witnesses. So it's like
she kind of befriended the ants. Like it was like a
hey, there's nothing wrong with feeding that weird looking animal thing that comes to your backyard. And sounds like your mom sometimes asking to come into the house. You can leave a nice little food dish
we just have
outside for it.
skunks. We just get skunks.
And you know, it might do you a solid one day. Instead of squashing all the ants and fucking around with them, you could just kind of leave them somewhere else and mind your own business. And you know, I'm the type of person who, like, if I catch a bug inside, I don't immediately kill it. I usually try to
I don't kill any bugs.
relocate it.
This is the exact reason too.
Revenge.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, you make, you know, army of ants, the gorillas.
Yeah, those are both things.
We just spray the houses, and that's it. So
Well, it keeps them outside. But
Yeah.
so,
Well, yeah, that's
I
a
just don't want to
preventative
kill.
measure.
I just don't want to kill anything.
I know you don't,
Yeah,
Just like specific.
except the mosquitoes.
except for O.J. Simpson.
Yeah.
right?
O.J.
Oh my
Simpson,
God.
too.
That's fair.
I remember there's this D&D group thing that I watched on YouTube too, and they talk about, like, you know, they joke around and stuff too, like how we do, but they recorded, put on YouTube, and they were like something about OJ, and they're like, we can't say that he's out there. He's out there, and I'm like, not anymore. The ants got him.
The ants secretly
And the
got
worms.
Yeah, and the worms. Because the bones are their money, and the worms are their dollars.
And the
Very
worms
good.
call in, the worms call out, and split your pickle on the spot.
It's very good. I'm gonna read a story now because it's my turn.
Am I gonna shit my pants?
Maybe.
Should I put a tampon in my asshole so I don't shit my pants
That's
too?
not what they're
Should
used
we
for,
put
but
some
okay.
sugar on your balls and see if the ants will take it?
And see if Steve Buscemi...
Whoa. Yeah, whoa.
All right.
Okay, now we're crossing a line. Okay. We have genocide for breakfast, and then everyone's a critic.
Speaking of genocide,
Oh, no.
the story I'm reading is called "I See the Death of Everyone I Meet."
Oh, that's cool.
Isn't that a bit too much?
I would not like
After
to
like
see that.
meeting like 3-4 people that you like, wouldn't it just be really sad at that point?
Yeah.
What if it's like a happy ending where they die of like old age with you?
Then that's not as bad.
No, that's not as bad.
Reminds me of
What was the show? The Medium.
Oh yeah,
Starring
that too.
one
Yeah.
chick, and then she had
She said yeah.
flashes of how those people were about to get fucking murked.
But
There was
then
also
she's-
like a bit of a dead zone thing.
But she saw like her husband was, she like thought he was gonna die on a plane, and then the whole family got on the plane with him because they thought he was gonna die, and then they didn't die, so she was like kind of half and half.
Very cool.
It reminds me of the Nickelback music video too, with the numbers above their head.
Look at this photograph.
Look at this graph.
Oh my god.
All right, I'm gonna read a story.
Show me what it. That's the song. That's the music video.
Let him read his story.
That's it.
I see the death of everyone I meet. Once when I was in kindergarten, I got booted out of class for telling the new girl, Abigail, that she smelt bad. I remember it vividly, a bloody, burny, boozy smell that hit me the moment she came in. And Abigail burst into tears, and I got a stern lecture on telling lies, but it wasn't a lie. My little nose had leapt forward 10 years into the future where a teenage Abigail would drunkenly plow her parents' Mitsubishi straight into the front of an oncoming bus. When we met again in middle school, I smelt it a second time, and along with the song she'd been playing on the radio, 5 seconds of a generic disco beat, the last thing she'd ever hear. I know it's bad to say, but I think there's something sacred about it. There's nothing more personal than someone's last moments of life, and I try not to take it for granted. It's hard, sometimes, though, especially once I get older and better at it. Along with smells came sounds, sights, even feelings. Though the last one was rare. In this day and age, most people go to their death with pastel colors and blinking machines and a faint whiff of hand sanitizer, their brains too fizzled to know what's about to happen. There are exceptions. Like Abigail, or my middle school gym teacher, who was going to die with a deafening bang and a rush of mad courage. I couldn't hear a word of his opening lecture because my ears were still ringing. Suicide will do that to you. Have you ever told anyone? Of course not. Can you imagine? Even if they did believe me, which I doubt, it wouldn't be long before curiosity got the better of them and they'd want to know what I saw for them. Which is fine, for the heart attacks and the quiet in their sleeps, but what do you say to murder? And no, you can't change it. Don't ask me, I've already tried. I already fucking tried, and you can't beat the system. You just can't. I already lost someone to that. Her name was Phoebe. She was in my history class at community college. It's a pretty small place, and I knew most of the other kids there except for her, and we weren't on speaking terms because every time she came in with a few feet of me, I got the urge to vomit. It was motion sickness, but also something worse. Fear. Hers was the worst fear I'd ever felt in another human being, and I could hardly stand to be in the same room as her. I managed to avoid her for a couple of months until one day she arrived late to class, and she apologized, looked around, before striding to the back of the room and sitting right beside me. There was nothing I could do. I felt it all. The nausea, the terror, a vision, too. And a vision, too, of me stuck fast in my seat as I hurtled headlong, flaming out of the sky, the ocean rushing up towards me, screaming. Then, smack. Nothing. When I came to, she was glaring at me. "What the hell is your problem?" she whispered. "What?" I asked, the queasiness subsiding. I don't... "If you don't like me, then just say so, asshole. Quit pretending to be ill all the time." Was this Twilight?
Yeah, really.
Huh?
Strange.
I sat up, trying to get a better look at her. We'd never been this close before. She was pretty. I hadn't thought about how I must have looked at her, running away retching every time she got close. I swear it's not on purpose, I said. I'm just sick a lot. It isn't you. "Sure," she said, looking back towards the front of the class. "Honestly, let me make it up to you." She raised her eyebrows. "Seriously?" And that was the start of it. Within a month we were official. It was the happiest time of my life. The sickness didn't go away, but it subsided after a couple minutes, and she stopped taking it personally after a while. Dashing to the bathroom became part of the routine on dates. We did everything together, all the dumb couple things, movies, dinners, walks. It was my first serious relationship, and I convinced myself that her death, whatever it was still years in the future. For a while, anyway. At the start of the summer, she told me she was going to visit her grandparents out of state. "The flight's on Monday. I won't be gone much more than a week." "Flight," I repeated. "Yeah." "Hey, what's wrong with you?" I convinced her to take a road trip instead. I can't remember the exact excuse I gave, some nonsense about expenses, life experience, our carbon footprint. However long it took me to guess, it was a plane crash. I'll never know. I was in too deep, I guess. But whatever it was I said, she must have seen that I was serious, so she rented a red minivan from the local garage, and after we packed it up, I kissed her goodbye and said it was the right decision, and she laughed. "Okay, weirdo." Straight after she left, I got an urge to call her, but I told myself I was being overprotective. I worked for a few hours, then flopped down in front of the TV, and I watched bad reality shows until I got bored, and then flicked to the local news station just in time to see a breaking story of a 12-car pileup on a suspension bridge. And when a truck driver dozing at the wheel had strayed out of his lane, clipping the corner of a passing car, which swerved into another, triggering a chain of collisions, which ended tragically. When some viewers may find this footage disturbing, a red minivan was forced over to the side, plummeting down into the ocean below. A couple of days ago, I got this email. The writer, he didn't give his name. He read my story and said he remembered the incident when Phoebe died from the news, and he said that he lived in my city. He said he was sorry. He said he had the same power. And I wrote back, "Are you serious?" And he said, "Yeah." He kept writing, and he told me the stories about his life. None of them were particularly happy. It would have been a miserable existence even without his ability, like this one passage. "I was always sick as a little boy, forever coughing and wheezing and clutching my throat. It infuriated my father, and I got the belt for it, a lot. He thought I was pretending, because the doctor said there was nothing wrong with my chest. Psychosomatic, he told my father, who translated it as weakness. As if a child would choke for attention, nobody noticed how it was triggered by my brother's presence. And when I was 12 and found him dangling in the garage, well, that was the day I realized that I was gifted. I'm sorry I've never told anyone before this. I thought you might understand." Well, there were others as well, like the proposal he turned down because she smelt of carbon monoxide. "I loved her," he said, "but I couldn't live in the same house knowing." Stuff like that. We kept messaging. I haven't gone out much since Phoebe died. Having someone to talk to was nice. It was strange, it was morbid, sometimes overly personal, but at the same time it was a relief, knowing I wasn't alone. That even within the city limits there was someone else going through the same thing that I was. Eventually he sent me this. "We should meet. There are things you should know, and I can only tell you them in person. I know a good place." So that's how yesterday afternoon I found myself sitting in a grubby little cafe on the wrong side of town. It was practically empty, probably why he chose it. Less death to deal with. I ordered a coffee from the smiling waitress, parentheses, a stroke, alone in her living room, Storage Wars on TV, and watched the window, and someone touched my shoulder. "Are you..." a voice. I looked up. It was a middle-aged man, thin, shabbily dressed, bald spot, poorly disguised by a greasy comb-over, and the death hit immediately. It was violent, really violent, some kind of blunt weapon shoved repeatedly in the abdomen, the sight of his own blood spreading across the tiles, the sound of a slamming door. It passed. He was studying my face. "So you sensed it?" he asked, sitting across from me. He was soft-spoken. I nodded. "You too?" "Of course," he replied. The waitress came by, asked to take our order. "Tea," he said, not meeting her eye. She frowned at him, shuffled away. "Storage Wars," he said, and his upper lip curled ever so slightly in disgust. We talked for a long time in that little cafe, reminiscing about the people we'd lost, and, well, I talked. All the things I'd never been able to discuss about came rushing out. He seemed content to listen, flinching every time someone walked past the table, but eventually he spoke again. "We need to go somewhere private. I live not far from here. Let's go." I hesitated, but not for long. I couldn't risk losing out on hearing what he had to say. To have even the slightest understanding of my ability, the chance wouldn't come again. I agreed to go. He lived in a shabby little apartment building a few blocks from the cafe. It was a real shithole. Every surface was peeling, moldy. The cheap yellow light in the hallway flickered on and off as we entered. "Not a lot of people come through here," he explained as we climbed the stairs, "and that's how I like it." His apartment was even worse, and I felt my first real doubts when I saw the layer of grime covering his only window. The floorboards were covered in bloated, overflowing trash bags, and the smell, well, how could he live with the smell? "I don't normally have guests," he said with a forced chuckle. He led me through the kitchen, practically empty except for a plastic table and a couple of chairs. More crap on the counters, loose cutlery, bad food, flies crawling everywhere. We sat. "Now," he began, "I think it's time we discuss the real reason you're here." I didn't respond. "Young man, I'd like you to tell me my death, please." I shook my head. That's a bad idea." "Just tell me." He reached across and squeezed my hand, and I resisted the urge to recoil. "What's it gonna be?" I looked at him. There it was again. The pool of blood, the slamming door. He was disgusting. but I did feel bad for him. I'm sorry. Fighting only makes it worse. You think I don't know that? Do you think that I would defy death? Don't you want to? Only a fool disobeys death. Death is a lord, a master. Death is the one true God. He has chosen us. All of this he said as quietly as before, his milky white eyes fixated on mine, wide and reverent. I tried to stand up, but he pulled me closer. Please, please don't leave me. I can't stand to spend another day like the rest of them, living in ignorance and stupidity. His yellowing nails dug into the skin of my forearm as he spoke until tiny beads of blood rose to the surface. We're just sacks of flesh. We rot from the day we're born. Even in the growing there is rot, rot, rot. So little weight to snap a bone, so little flesh to burn the skin. But us, we're special. We ought to know our destinies. He chose us. He chose us for his purpose. I shook my head mutely. I felt frozen in place. Purpose? What purpose? Young man, he said to me, his voice as soft as ever. Do you know how it feels to meet someone you know will die at your hand? I said nothing. Of course you do. You've already killed once. Already you have been a servant. My first was my father. One day he was beating me, and when in his eyes I saw my own face contorted in rage, I couldn't escape it. I tried, I did, honestly. But no man is stronger than his death. He rules me now. I see who to take, and I take them, just as death tells me. This is mad, I said. I didn't know what else to tell him. You're mad. No, my son. He leaned forward, pressing his forehead against mine, the stench of his breath filling my nostrils. I am enlightened. No, I yanked myself free, not noticing his other hand rushing toward me until it was too late. The bottle exploded across my temple and I crumpled into the wall, only just dodging another blow to the face. Tell me, he screamed, stabbing the broken bottleneck. I grabbed his wrist and yelled back, fuck you! You know what the worst part is? There were better ways I could have done it, nicer ways. It's not like the butter knife was the closest thing to hand. I saw it lying on the counter and made a dash for it because I knew that would kill him. Not something sharp, not something heavy. I didn't even have to push it in the first time. I was holding it in both hands and he slammed right into me. But I remember, from the vision, multiple stabbings. So after he fell, I shoved it in, again and again, until it was so slick with blood that I couldn't get a good grip. He looked at me, his eyes wide, trying to say something. All he could manage was a wet, gurgling sound. We stared at each other for a second, and then I walked out, slamming the door behind me. I keep telling myself that it was self-defense, that the first stab certainly was, but the second, the third, the fourth, the fifth... Anyway, that's all that happened. I'm not answering any more emails.
I knew he was gonna be the one to kill him.
Be responsible for it.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah, I had a feeling. It was definitely Final Destination vibes, though.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. For sure. There's that movie coming out soon, The Monkey.
Yeah, Stephen King.
It's supposed to have some Final Destination vibes.
Oh, I haven't heard of it yet.
It's like they
whenever the monkey chimes, someone dies. And it's supposed to be like Rube Goldberg-esque.
Oh.
You know, some crazy contraption goes off and someone dies in a terrible fucking way.
Oh, jeez.
Okay, Afternoon Groom. I liked that one. I thought it was fun.
Yeah, I like that
A little predictable, but I'm okay with predictable if the story is written well enough.
Yeah.
I have a story for Afternoon Groom that I know he's going to enjoy. Because I know how he feels about this.
Oh, no.
God damn it. Every time I keep... Okay.
If it's about an animal dying, I don't want it.
Oh, no. No, this one's a good one.
Okay.
You're going to like this one.
Oh, okay. good.
It's called Why I Didn't Shower for 21 Years.
Oh, God. Some people do that. Some people just do that.
Yeah, me. I haven't showered in 21 years.
The last time you did what? You were 10, 12? Yes.
11.
11.
We have to think
Some
about
were
it.
stuck between 10 and 12. Sorry.
I'm gonna go get more water real quick. Just give me
Okay.
1 second.
Yep. No problem.
I didn't shower for 21 years.
120 years.
I shower all the time.
Yeah.
I don't leave the shower. I'm so comfortable in the shower.
What I don't do is eat mud pie.
Yeah.
Is that code for eating ass?
Could be. Certainly could be.
Suit yourself.
All right, buddy. Take it away. What's it called again?
Why I didn't shower for 21 years. No. 7.
Reddit no sleep. That's what it stands for.
Yeah, it stands for Reddit No Sleep, and it's 7 pages long.
It's a lot of pages. I hope my illiteracy doesn't kick in.
Too late.
It's time we start now. It's too late. It's already happening. Why I didn't shower for 21 years. Motherfucker!
Oh my god.
I have nightmares when I'm trapped in a shower. The drain is plugged and the water won't stop pouring down on me. Water rises to my ankles, to my waist, and then over my head. The shower curtain turns to glass, and my screams turn to gargles. A dark figure presses its face against the glass on the other side, and it watches me. I plead, but it won't let me out. I swallow water and flail helplessly in my glass coffin. I wake up gagging. I know where the nightmare came from. I never have to dig deep. The incident is never far from my subconscious. Finding it easy. Get over it. Getting over it. Getting over it is not. Getting over it is not. Yes.
Just read it the one time, Jesus Christ.
Okay, I'll read it one more time. Oh, shit.
Getting over it is not.
It was the summer of my 12th birthday when the Hudsons moved in across the street. 3 people, one of them a really old woman. She was tiny, frail, skeletal almost. Thin white hair, fade, blue floral dress. Her head hung from her neck, and it wobbled as the man pushed her up a makeshift wheelchair ramp into the house. At the time, I couldn't figure out if she was alive or dead. A few minutes later, she appeared in an upstairs window, sitting in her wheelchair. She was directly facing my bedroom, and I cautiously peeled out from behind my curtain. Her head was upright now, and she stared at me. Just stared, without moving her head an inch. I closed my drapes. For days, she sat at the window. She watched the cars putter down our suburban road and gazed at the neighborhood kids scurrying through their yards. I never saw anyone else in the room. Never saw her move from the wheelchair. At night, I nervously peeked through the crack of my drapes. Her silhouette was in that window, lights off, staring out into the darkness of my bedroom. I couldn't tell, but I knew she was watching me. Stories about her cropped up pretty quickly amongst my friends in the neighborhood. She was a witch. She was just a doll. That she was actually dead, but I knew she wasn't dead. I never saw her move from the window, not once, and I never saw her head turn, but I felt her eyes move as they studied me. I could feel her watching me. All alone in my bedroom, in the middle of the night, with my drapes firmly shut, I'd wake up and shudder. Her eyes were on me. I just knew it. I began sleeping on the floor. The lower I was, the better. Maybe she couldn't see me if I was on the floor. I told my parents that the old woman across the street was creeping on me. I pleaded with them to talk to the Hudsons and ask them to move her to a room without a window. They laughed and told me to let her live out her twilight years in peace. She was just watching the street, they said, and that made me feel happy and feel younger. Made her feel happy, made her feel younger.
Yeah, old people like to sit on their fucking porches and people watch and yell at the kids.
My concern...
Get off my fucking yard.
My concern is she never moved from the wheelchair, and I'm like, that's elderly abuse. Like, even at night, they don't put her in a bed.
Just
like,
you wait till you see him push her in the pool.
Oh my god.
Fair enough.
Oh my god, that's
what I'm waiting for.
horrible.
That's what I'm assuming is going to happen. It's going to be this fucking Edgar Allan Poe shit with the stray heart in the floor. Or a guy with the fucking eyes behind his own paper-thin eyelids. Tall-tailed heart or the fucking eyes. It's gonna be some shit like that, you bet it. Okay. Are you just going to stick me in a windowless room when I'm an old lady? My mom yelled. Remind me to move in with my sister when I'm in a wheelchair. A week later, there was some commotion at the Hudsons. I watched from my bedroom window as the man ran out of the house and opened up the double doors of his van. He jogged inside and he reappeared minutes later, pushing the old lady in the wheelchair down the ramp. She looked frailer than before. She couldn't have weighed more than 70 pounds. Her head was flinging to the side, resting on her right shoulder. Her body jolted in the wheelchair. Jostled in the wheelchair. But her eyes never left me, watching me the whole time. The man picked her up and placed her in the car. He folded the wheelchair and shuffled in the truck. He quickly hopped into the driver's seat. The younger woman pounced into the passenger seat, and the man put his foot on the pedal. Yeah, read this better.
I don't know what you're saying, babe.
Me neither.
You're making shit up as you go along.
The older woman.
You know, it's easy. You can just read the words that are there.
Yeah.
You don't have to, like, finish the sentence before your eyes get there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Listen here. I twile my eyes. The old woman's limp head still faced up. It bobbed up and down as the van reversed down the driveway. I studied her face. It was expressionless, emotionless. Her tongue slightly hung from the right side of her mouth, but her eyes were on mine, and they stayed on me. Like a dangling dog.
Honey, she probably had like a stroke. My god.
Like, it reminds me of the pug, though, that has its
Which
tongue
I would have
sticking
just
out.
called 911 at that point.
Yeah.
I don't know what time period this is, though. The van accelerated down the street, and it was gone. My parents heard the news that afternoon from the other neighbors. The old woman's condition was getting worse, and the Hudsons had taken her to some sort of a home. She wouldn't be coming back. I went straight to my room, and I looked across the street. I smiled. Her window was finally empty. The Hudsons didn't come back the next day. No van. That night, I looked out towards the old woman's window. There was no one there, no wheelchair. But the bedroom light was on. I remember telling my dad I thought it was strange, and he just shrugged and said, "Must be on some sort of timer or something." I woke up in the middle of the night and nervously peered out my bedroom window. The bedroom light was still on. I suddenly flicked off, and I ducked down my window frame. I slowly rose and looked out, expecting to see the silhouette of that tiny skeletal being. I watched for 10 minutes, pinching and straining my eyes. The lights quickly flickered on and then off again. I slept on the floor again, clutching my pillow close. I had late baseball practice the next evening. When I got home, my house was empty. My parents were at my little sister's softball game. I headed to the shower to rinse off. About 3 minutes into the shower, I felt cold. The hot steam was escaping the bathroom somehow, which didn't make sense because I had shut the door. I wiped the shampoo from my eyes, turned my head, and I heard a strange noise that would haunt me in nightmares for years. The metal rings of the shower curtain began dragging across the shower rod. Someone was slowly opening the curtain. The shampoo stung my eyes, and through the stinging I saw a dark figure through the curtain. Long, pale, bony fingers gripped the curtain as it slowly opened. I instinctively backed up in the shower, and the curtain opened completely. There stood the old woman. I must have only looked at her for 1, maybe 2 seconds, but at that moment time stood still. All these years later, I can still draw you a vivid picture of the horrifying image in front of me. So I was on the next page. Disheveled white hair, crazy in her eyes, bones jutting out from under her stretched skin, stark, naked, blotchy.
She naked.
She naked.
Hell yeah, dude.
Like shining, blotchy skin. Warts all over her body. Skinny breasts, hot. Hanging to her waist, hotter. Hair, where I didn't know people could grow
Whoa.
hair. Oh,
Whoa.
she's all
Like her asshole.
she all natural.
Oh my god.
Hottest.
The hottest. Oh my god.
She smiled grotesquely, and I felt the shower tile against my back, and the hot water poured my face. You little pal, you just told me it was cold. In her, well, maybe she wants to get in. In her other hand,
Oh my God.
the old woman held a letter opener. August, she muttered. August. 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 I leaped past her, knocking her tiny body to the floor. I ran downstairs, naked and sopping wet. In my panic, I somehow remembered I was nude, and I yanked a pair of shorts out of the hamper in the laundry room, sending the hamper crashing to the floor. I hightailed it on foot down the street, naked, butt-ass naked, eventually winding up at my friend's house. When the police arrived, they found the old lady crumpled to a heap in the bathroom. The shower was still running. The policemen were all really nice to me, admiring me for my bravery. I told them what she said to me, August, and asked if they knew what she could have meant. It will be August in a few days. One of them shrugged, and you can never fully understand old people. Oh, never understand old and crazy, son. Well, I mean, I guess she's old. I
didn't realize,
old.
I thought it was in his head. I didn't realize, this lady actually showed
Hang
up
on,
in his
it's still
house.
No, I always assume that if it's fucking happening, it's fucking real
Yeah.
until we're told it's not.
Yeah.
The Hudsons only came to our street once more to retrieve their stuff. The for sale sign was up in days. My mom told me they couldn't face the neighbors for what happened. Apparently they had taken the old woman, the man's mother, to a special home downstate. Somehow, someway, the woman managed to escape the house and caught a bus back to our town.
Oh my god.
Hell
Naked.
yeah.
Naked.
It never quite made sense to me. She was so old, so frail, so helpless. She could barely move those weeks she lived in that house. How did she manage to travel hundreds of miles on her own?
Naked.
With a letter opener tucked between her ass cheeks.
Whoa. That's skillful.
Yeah. She says, hold on till August. Like, hold on till May, if I pierce the veil. But this is hold on till August. The letter opener between your butt cheeks.
Very cool.
Anyway, you can imagine what this did to me. I didn't shower for 21 years. I took baths, which I suppose aren't that different. It's still a tub, and it involves hot, soapy water, but a shower with its closed curtain, water peppering the tub, water peppering the tub floor, and steam climbing the walls. You get lost inside your head in the shower. thoughts consume you, and it feels so utterly safe. So utterly safe for minutes. You are alone from the world. It's your own private misty kingdom.
Misty Kingdom.
Misty kingdom.
That's why Afternoon Groom takes such long showers.
Yeah, he really does take
That's
a long
'cause
shower.
Multiple times a day.
I write rock operas.
It's not because he
Showers.
shits his pants and needs to take a shower immediately.
No, he really loves to sing in the shower, though. He does.
I write rock operas.
Yep.
I'm in my own world.
He has a concert
Mhm.
with the shampoo bottles.
I write masterpieces.
Yep.
I'm Mozart,
hmm
naked in the shower.
Did you write this story?
No, maybe, perhaps.
He was really into that old lady who was naked.
It's her tits down to her fucking ankles. How can
It's
you
not done yet.
It's
Oh, it's not done yet. Keep
I know,
going.
wait. But that's what makes the shower dangerous. You're enclosed, vulnerable, naked. You're exposed. I talked to people about it. My parents a shrink, but mainly I tried to push the incident deep down into places where I couldn't find it. I didn't talk about it with anyone since I was a kid. Life carried on. Besides the baths, I was pretty normal. A few months ago, something inside me clicked. I felt the urge to re-examine the incident. It was almost like a voice in my head was telling me to do it. My head wanted closure. I spent hours online one night trying to track down any information on the Hudsons and the old woman. I finally found what it was. I finally found what I was looking for, an obituary for the old woman. She had died 4 years ago. Somehow, that walking skeleton hadn't checked out for almost 15 years.
Wow.
The obituary photo was a black and white photo from when she was a young woman. It was a photo of her and her deceased husband on their wedding day. Tits and all. His name was August, and he looked exactly like me.
Oh, shit.
When the dementia kicks in, it kicks in hard.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah. But then she had that letter opener, too.
You don't know what they
And
were
she
up
was
to.
naked.
You don't know what they were up to in their bedroom when they were younger.
I guess so.
She just wanted a little taste. A little taste of
Oh
that.
my god!
Gonna get me a little taste.
A little taste of that 15-year-old boy.
He was 12!
Oh, 12.
He was 12!
She likes them young, right before their teens.
Oh my god.
I closed the browser and started... I closed the browser and stared at my computer desk for 10 minutes. It finally made more sense why she called me August. Why she was obsessed with watching me. Maybe she used that letter opener.
Maybe she used to write.
Write letters to her husband, and that's why she was clutched the letter opener that night. For a small moment, felt a little better. Things always feel better when they make more sense. Honey, is everything okay? It was my wife. I think so, I said.
He's married? No.
He's married, by the way.
Oh my
I
god.
took the first shower I had taken in years that night. I didn't even jump when the curtain rungs dragged across the shower rod and my wife entered. Ooh. But as she embraced me under the hot shower, one question wouldn't leave my head. How come the young lady in that photo looks exactly like my wife? I knew that was gonna happen. I had a feeling.
Is it almost over?
That's
No, that's it. That was it.
That was the last line. Why does the young lady in the photo look like
exactly.
Yeah.
Like,
My
exactly
wife.
like my wife?
it's
So it's like a loop,
yeah.
cyclical in nature.
Mm-hmm.
So
And she had a
he
letter
knows-
opener
So
between
he
her
knows
ass
that
cheeks.
she's going to die, or no, He now knows that he's going to die at a younger age, and his wife is going to get dementia and be a creeper
Mm-hmm.
On him.
on him.
But it's okay. It's not cheating.
No, it's not cheating. It's fair.
But she had the letter opener between her ass cheeks. She tricked him into the shower.
I feel like that might have been implied.
Yeah, it's implied.
Technically, we don't know if she's sticking the letter opener handle up her ass, so she doesn't have to clench it with her ass cheeks.
Well,
Very good.
I wouldn't want the sharp end in my ass, that's for sure.
Well, how else are you gonna open your letter openers? She's like a bee.
Oh my
Buzz,
god.
buzz.
Buzz buzz. Oh my
Buzz,
god.
buzz, bitch. Give me your letter.
Oh my god. That was an interesting one. It was like almost like time travel-y, kind of like maybe premonition kind of thing.
I didn't dislike it. I just think ultimately, like,
I think it had
that wouldn't stop me from showering for 21 years.
Yeah.
I would just upgrade my security system and maybe keep an eye on my fucking weird ass neighbor.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
Also,
Like,
maybe lock the fucking
But also-
bathroom door when you take a shower.
true, fair, but also
Don't get a
baths count.
As cleaning yourself.
You can't say that you haven't showered in 21 years when you bathe.
Yeah.
Well, no, maybe
The terms are the same.
It's but that's the thing. The words have two meanings. I guess that's how they got.
The
around it.
processes have two meanings, but it's still bathing.
No.
I wanted to read the story because I wanted to hear about why this guy was so stinky.
And he had worms coming out of his skin.
No,
and,
that's not necessarily that. I didn't want to go that far. I just wanted to hear why this guy was so stanky.
He
was married.
I
too.
wanted you.
He was
He
married.
was married.
Yeah.
She liked it. That's exactly why she liked it.
I'm now gonna have Midnight Bride read a fun little story about Grandma.
Oh,
Cookies?
great.
This one's called "Grandma's Light is Always On."
Grandma's ass cheeks.
Grandma's ass cheeks.
And all the
That is
bitches.
what I was thinking when you were talking about the letter opener.
Yeah.
Grandma's ass cheeks.
Oh my god. In one corner of my grandma's living room stood a lamp that was almost never turned off. She would change the bulb every week like clockwork, waiting until the afternoon sunlight poured through the windows and filled the room. Even then she hurried, holding her breath until the deed was done and the lamp was back on. Oh shit. I would ask her about it once in a while. Each time she would smile softly, tousle my hair, and promptly change the subject. I didn't learn the truth until I was 13, the first time I turned off the lamp. Grandma had OCD. No, I'm kidding.
That's when he got the belt.
Yep. I just wanted to see what would happen. Grandma screamed when she walked into the darkened living room, a plate of cookies falling from her hands and crashing to the floor. I could hear her praying under her breath and as she raced to turn the light back on. Tears were shining in her eyes when she turned to me, her lips pressed thin. Without warning, she slapped me hard across the face. Oh shit.
Told you.
Damn,
Told you.
you
Damn.
touched my
Grandma.
fucking lamp.
Me lamp.
Don't touch me.
She was
lamp.
secretly a moth.
Oh shit. She craves lamp.
Yep.
Shit, a lamp.
Grandma had never so much as raised her voice before, and as I was too shocked to cry, she cried enough for both of us, gathering me up in her arms and begging me for my forgiveness. With her face buried in my shoulder, she finally told me about the lamp. It was a ghost light, she said. Ever since she and my grandpa had bought the house back when they first arrived in America, the spirits of the dead had plagued her. Only when her burden threatened to drive her mad did she ask Grandpa for help. She had expected him to laugh her out of the house, but he had surprised her by nodding gravely. It was he who had first lit the ghost light, and as long as that beacon burned through the darkness, she had never seen another spirit. I've never heard of this before.
Ghost lights are
Yeah.
weird.
Oh, interesting.
Well, think of it's kind of like the same thing with like Over the Garden Wall, in a sense.
Oh, I mean,
He has the spirit and the it's.
well, really,
it's-
it's supposed
it's
I mean,
in that-
that's
it's
more
in
of a
that same-
metaphorical old folksy tale thing.
Yeah.
No, ghost lamps are 100% real things, and they're supposed to be, wards.
Oh no, yeah, but I mean, it's like it's in that realm of
little lights.
the supernatural
Yeah.
of ghosts.
Mm-hmm.
I stopped visiting my grandma after that. It started gradually at first, missing a day here and there, but by the time I received news of her death, I hadn't seen her in over 10 years. As her only living relative, I shouldn't have been surprised when I inherited her house. Yet as I sat in her lawyer's office listening to him read her will, I was speechless. I had a difficult time paying attention after that, absorbed as I was with the business of remembering. So much love had filled those walls, so many happy memories. As I thought of my tiny, sterile apartment in the city, I quickly made my decision. I was almost overwhelmed by emotion as I walked through the front door. Everything looked exactly as I remembered it from my childhood. House plants still cluttered the windowsills. Decorative bird plates still hung on the walls, and the ghost light still burned in the living room. Seeing the old lamp sent a chill down my spine. I froze in my tracks, the smile fading from my lips, and I couldn't help but think of the night Grandma had slapped me so many years ago. I had told my mother about the ghost light the next day, but she had dismissed it as simple old world superstition. It was the same way when she was growing up, she told me, and I shouldn't worry about it. Still, I couldn't shake the conviction that I had finally seen the true depths of my grandma's lunacy. I ran my fingers through the fringe on the lampshade as I thought a bloom of sadness darkening my nostalgia. Sighing heavily, I turned the ghost light off with a decisive click.
Grandma slapped you once. She's coming back from the dead
back
to slap your ass
She's
again.
like, I'm gonna fucking haunt you now.
Yeah.
Put that letter opener between his ass cheeks.
That was the other story.
Yeah, I know, but he's not gonna get over that now.
It's gonna go in this story now, too.
Oh my God. Something woke me later that night. No shit. I lay in bed listening to the darkness until I heard scratching coming from the living room.
The darkness, like the band. It's like bomb, bomb, ba-dum.
No, it says rats were the last thing I wanted to deal with at that moment, and I rolled over with a groan, determined to ignore it until the morning. The scratching continued, intermittently, constantly jerking me from the edge of sleep, and I finally had enough. I threw the blankets off me and stormed out into the hall. Moonlight flooded the front of the house, and I didn't bother turning on lights as I made my way to the living room. I knew every inch of the house, even after so many years, and I moved confidently through the dim light. I was furious at having been woken from a dead sleep, and my anger ill-prepared me for what I found. An elderly woman was crouched in the corner, her gaunt back to me. She was scratching at the floor where the walls met, stopping every few minutes to cock her head. A gnarl of dread unfurled in the pit of my stomach. I had no idea how this woman had gotten into my house, and though it was obvious she needed help, it took me some time to summon the courage to approach her.
Grandma?
Grandma, is that you? She says, my ass
Turns the
cheeks.
light back on, disappears.
Yeah. My hand shook as I reached out to gently squeeze her shoulder. I meant to ask her where she lived, who her caretaker was, but the words were driven from my mind when she turned and I saw her face. Her eyes were solid black, bottomless pits, and they didn't reflect the moonlight. Her jaw hung impossibly open, unhinged, and the dark tunnel of her mouth spiraled down into her throat. I had a moment to realize who she was, to recognize the familiar map of wrinkles in her face, the curls of her wispy hair. Then my grandma screamed. She's like, fucking turn my light off!
What did I fucking tell you? Have my light back!
I screeched, stumbling backwards away from the nightmare in the corner. My arms flailed in the air, reaching for the nearest lamp. Me lamp! And my hands touched the ghost light. I yanked the chain, filling the room with light, and she was gone. I never turned off the ghost light after then. After letting the bulb burn out one evening, I began changing it every week, just as Grandma had. Eventually I got married, and luckily for me, my wife was tolerant of my strange fixation on the lamp. The light continued to burn, and I lived my life happily enough. But my grandson has been asking me about the fucking ghost light lately. Each time he asks, I smile softly, tousle his hair, and promptly change the subject. For some reason, I can't bring myself to tell him the truth. I think about how I pulled away from my grandma, how I thought her crazy, and I kept my mouth shut. I worry, though. I know I won't be around forever, just as I know he will eventually turn off the ghost light. I worry that he might see me then, twisted and wrong, scratching in the corner.
That's a good one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know, my grandma had, like, weird things that she would do.
Everyone's got little kicks.
She was kind of superstitious.
See, the thing is, like, if I was in my grandparents' house, like, if I go back and there's, like, shit going on like that, I'm not going to be scared.
Really? With the, like, the
No.
dead eyes?
I'm going
and
to be
the...
fucking pissed. pissed.
Mm-hmm.
Like, don't bring that fucking shit in here.
Yeah.
Like, this is my fucking grandparents' house.
Yeah.
You keep that.
It sounded
fucking
like
shit
it
out
followed
there.
her though. Like it wasn't the house itself.
No, I think so. When conventionally speaking, a ghost lamp is just for people who like they feel like there's presence around them.
Mm-hmm.
It's not so much a place; it's more so their presence. And it's like if you want to dissuade even the thought, the feeling, the notion, the shadow, that thing you see in your fucking peripheral vision when you walk through a room. If you want to get rid of any of that mumbo jumbo, it's like having a dream catcher.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
like
okay.
above your bed. Like it's just a ward. It's just a simple thing. And that's it. That's all it has to be. But the idea is it's a nightlight for like the supernatural. So like, you know, take that as far as you want to take it. I'm into it. I think Grandma knew what was going on.
Yeah.
And I think, unfortunately, you know, there were some negative thoughts associated to that. So naturally, he's going to see his grandma in a negative way.
Yeah.
Should that light go out.
She was gonna fucking slap his face again, and she'd go, turn that fucking light back on. Fucking said so.
Alright, we got one more story I'm going to read real quick. I picked one called Tug.
Oh, it's masturbation.
Yep,
Wow, we went right to it.
fair enough. I'm not really sure how to explain this to you. It's like trying to explain the color blue to a person who's blind from birth, so I hope you'll be able to follow along and understand as best as you can. You see, I have 2 garlands. That's what I call them. They extend like long, trailing ribbons, one from each of my shoulder blades. And they're invisible. And normally several yards long, but without a fixed length, really. You hear about amputees and their phantom limb syndrome. It's where they can feel a missing limb and it feels as if it's still real to them. It's like that, it's only I don't think my garlands were ever missing. My garlands don't interact with the world around me, so I couldn't pick up something with them or even feel textures or pressures like your fingers would, but I can move them. They seem to react strongly to large metal structures. My office has a walkway in a room with a very high ceiling with bare metal archways, and every time I pass under, I can feel my garlands arc mechanically from archway to archway, and it feels like the way electrical currents look when they arc, if that makes sense. It's hence my verb choice. Other than that, they're completely under my conscious control, just like my legs or my fingers, and when I was little I didn't understand that no one else had them. They feel so real, and I feel them move, and I move with them at times, ever lingering on the edge of my perception in the way that you simultaneously are and are not always conscious of your own fingers. When I was very young and would scribble crayon doodles of my family, I would draw everyone with garlands, and I vaguely remember my parents finding it cute that I thought everyone had 4 arms. And under innocence, I was wholly confused as to why my parents didn't think that they had garlands. After many such corrections, I started to realize that maybe some other people didn't have garlands in the same way that some people were in wheelchairs, and some people had red hair, and some people were dark-skinned, and girls didn't have peewees. I continued to draw myself with my garlands. I called them wibbins. I had a difficult time pronouncing the letter R. And it was just a fact of life, a menial feature. My parents grew concerned the more I questioned them about my wibbins, to the point of taking me to the doctor for x-rays of my back and other tests that revealed nothing abnormal. Can you imagine the frustration? To this day, my parents will sometimes tease me about my childhood imaginary friend taking the form of extra body parts. As I grew older, I steadily learned that I was alone in my possession of wibbins. I secretly began thinking of them as garlands, as though they'd look like the shiny Christmas tree garlands you'd wrap around a tree, or if they were visible, of course. I kept quiet about them, not wanting to worry my parents or become an object of ridicule amongst my classmates, I learned things about the garlands too. When I'm at rest and not actively moving them, they'll sort of lie flat, exactly like real ribbons would under gravity. And that when I would get excited or restless, the garlands would respond and undulate with greater frequency. And the two garlands never got entangled with each other. Obviously, they don't get tangled with any other objects, but I feel like they could wrap around my body, so I make sure that they are not under the covers with me in bed. I've always slept on my stomach so that I can make them swirl around in loops as I fall asleep. This is a very comfortable thing for me to do. I don't like touching people with them, and people can't touch them, but I can touch people with them. It feels dirty to do this, like I'm committing some sort of personal violation, like touching a random woman's breast or spying on someone urinating. It's not erotic in any way, it's just something strongly inappropriate, like standing in the elevator, facing away from the door. It's a minor taboo. Sometimes I'll touch someone by accident, and I'll instinctually blush and apologize to the person's slight bewilderment. All in all, I've never put much thought into it. I've always had my garlands, they're just a part of me. I've wondered if it isn't some psychological or neurochemical malfunction like a phantom hand syndrome, but they've never caused me pain or even any inconvenience besides needing some personal space and sleeping in unusual positions. That is, until last week. I'm 25 years old now, and my garlands have never been anything in all those years more than a passing quirk or an afterthought. Some of the mildly unique trivia, I've lived with them, and they're a part of me, just like my eye color or the mole on my calf. Last Sunday, though, something happened. As I wrote earlier, I fall asleep lying on my stomach, tracing swirls and designs in the air with my garlands. It's calming, relaxing, purely habitual routine. I went to bed around 2 a.m. that night, and as I lay with my blankets tucked around me, just under my shoulder blades, I began my normal routine of drawing spirals with both my garlands. I was just on the edge of falling asleep when my right shoulder blade's garland began to arc like it was walking near metal. It was wild, frenetic. I stopped swirling the left garland and tried to pull the rapidly erratic arcing right one back down, but it wouldn't obey. And then I felt the most horrifying sensation I've ever experienced. Someone had grabbed my right garland and tugged. It wasn't a violent or painful tug, but the sensation that it was deliberate was inescapable. The dirty feeling I described washed over me 100-fold stronger than any time that I'd touched a person. The pit of my stomach lurched. I felt violated, as if someone horrible had touched me so intimately and so privately in the most sacred part of me without permission. And the word rape flashed into my mind. It was just a small tug, and then whatever had grabbed my ribbon released. But the gross, dirty feeling lingered. I stumbled to the bathroom, crying as I vomited, and I wiped myself up as best as I could and cut on all the lights. My roommate had been asleep in her room downstairs. No one and no thing was in the house besides her and me. I showered. God, did I shower. So does Afternoon Groom. I can't begin to contain feeling of repulsion and violation in words. I didn't sleep that night, and all the lights in the apartment were left on. And for the first time in memory, I laid in bed with my covers tucked up to my chin, and my garlands rigidly puddled underneath my back. Nothing further happened that night, and I dragged myself to work exhausted the next morning. I kept my garlands firmly close to me all day, not letting them scream or fidget with them as I normally do. I even took the long way around, coming and going, so that I wouldn't pass under metal arches. I took off early, unable to concentrate on work. The next 4 days passed uneventfully. I slept nervously on my back and fully under the covers. I slowly began to dismiss the entirety of those events as a bad dream or some sort of hypnagogic reaction, and still I refused to flex and play with my garlands. Last night I had gone out and had some beers with my friends, and feeling better, more secure, I let my ribbons swirl about in the bar and traced patterns on the taxi roof on the way home. A little tipsy from the alcohol, I didn't dwell much on the prior events as I prepared for bed. I snuggled into my normal prone sleeping position and absent-mindedly began twirling my streamers into shapes and waves as I drifted off. Then the right garland began to vibrate, seizing and arcing. I barely had time to register and react before I felt it. The tug. Just a little tug. A purposeful, deliberate, like someone testing a fishing line. The nausea swept in, and then another tug. A tug. A tug. And then a yank. I screamed. I was being pulled. Pulled apart. The disgusting feeling was overwhelmed by pain and terror as I began pushing myself off the bed in the direction I was being pulled in a vain attempt to relieve the sickening taut feeling. The yanks were becoming forceful, as if the puller was frustrated at finding resistance, and one violent final yank, then I felt a tear. It was like stretched flesh being ripped apart, wet and thick and resistant. It felt like my insides were being siphoned out. My shoulder instantly cramped as it collapsed to the floor. The terrible pulling tension seized the moment of the rip. I vomited onto the floor over and over, until I could only dry heave as the room closed in around me. My roommate flung open my door, dropping the meat cleaver she had grabbed for protection after hearing me scream, and I just looked at her and cried. My shoulder blade ached. My right garland was gone. She helped me into the tub after ensuring there was no danger. I couldn't answer her question beyond pathetic whimpers. It was gone. Amputated. Severed. A part of me, an irreplaceable part of me, was removed, and I lay in the tub softly sobbing until the morning when the sunlight poured in through the window. I kept trying to move my right garland, to flex it, swirl it, but there's nothing. No feeling. It's gone. Just a void. I'm scared. I feel crippled, broken. I feel dirty, violated, desecrated. Is this what someone who loses a limb in an accident feels like? My shoulder aches, and my half bottle of ibuprofen and a half tablet of my roommate's Percocet have not eased even slightly. I feel naked. I feel reduced. Oh God, it's really gone. My left garland twitches uneasily every so often. I know that something's waiting for it, waiting to take me, waiting to tear it away from me. Every time my remaining garland trembles, I gasp, knowing soon I'll feel that sharp little tug. But what's the point? I'm like lost. Like what?
That's it?
That's it. I'm confused at like what the point of the garlands were. Like,
is it a girl too?
Yeah, it was a girl.
Okay.
I'm under the impression that it's like a sixth sense, right?
Yeah.
But what's it sensing? She's just saying that like
there wasn't another person that like was like an
no.
antagonist.
So let me follow. Let me follow this. I'm gonna say it in a less stupid way because I feel like what she said was pretty fucking stupid. Mm-hmm. Imagine, like, out of your shoulder blades, you just got, like, two tentacles
like
that are attached to you.
It's like X-Men, yeah.
I mean, it's just there's nothing flying about it. It's just tentacles. It's extra limbs.
And you can't see them.
Extra limbs, you can't see
there.
them. They're psychokinetic. So I got these two limbs coming out of my back. And I use them to, like, feel vibes, foods, atmosphere. Like, you know, I pick up on senses just like how your hand does. You know, it feels certain things, whatever. But all of a sudden, one day I'm sleeping and someone fucking tears one of my tentacles out. Is that existential fear? Because now you're saying something was taken from me on a spiritual level that now I believe in like a higher power because that's the only thing that could do something like that? Or is it more like
sinister? Yeah,
is it more evil? Is it more like something found me and used it like a fishing line and like just fucking yanked me out, pulled out my spinal column?
Is there a follow up to that?
I don't fucking know. That's not the point of this show. If you want to follow up, go follow your own dick.
What is it called? The tug?
Tug.
Oh, just tug.
Is she like, because it's a woman, so is it trying to make some symbolic thing about rape?
The rape,
Yeah.
the feeling like something is taken from you. I definitely felt a little bit of a victim thing going on there.
But at the same time, it's
like,
terribly written.
Well,
she's
it's terribly written in the sense that, like, is this how an ableist feels? Like, is this how someone, like, who's handicapped feels? Like, when you lose a piece of you, you just kind of always feel missing, less than. In my head, the allegory for losing an invisible tentacle is not the same as being fucking violated.
Yeah.
But,
to me, it's like this is like a victim kind of thing. And it's like
I just don't know where that story was trying to go.
That's what I feel
they're
like
trying to say that there's like another, if this invisible force you grow up with manifests itself around you in a certain way. Let's just use another example. Let's just say that I feel like I have, like, I don't know, I feel like some type of presence in my chest, like my chest, like Donnie Darko-esque, like leads me towards certain situations. It's my intuition.
Yeah.
I go off of my momentum that comes from my chest. If I ever felt one day that something just squeezed in on my chest and, like, eliminated that feeling, I don't think I'd feel like I was fucking raped. I think I would feel the existential fear of what it means to be
alive,
human.
See, to me, it's like, I don't know if I'm.
Why did it get so personal is what I'm asking.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like, I don't like that.
Red is very insecure to me.
To me, who?
I'm just saying that story read as very insecure.
So to me, it's like I'm assuming because I eventually halfway through the story, it's like I'm realizing I thought it was a dude. That's how I don't
think the sex really matters. I mean, I think the context implies that it's a woman, especially when they start talking about rape.
Is it like she's has like the it's like her childhood, like her innocence? And then, when it's taken, it's gone.
But that's the allegory for sex.
With the cleaver and this and that, the other thing. But
the allegory for sex is the loss of innocence. Like, that's why they say coming to age, stories are about kids figuring out, the beauties and the horrors of what it means to become an adult. A little girl gets her period, but then several years later she has sex for the first time and it all starts to make sense. My downstairs mix-up is just finally fucking making sense to me. In my head, the coming of age thing that you mentioned of her being like, yeah, as a kid it was this magical little thing, my fucking Wibbins, whatever, cool. But, like, are you saying... And this is what I'm like, you didn't go far enough. The story didn't go far enough. No, it didn't.
And it's not in the...
it would have been different if she was like, for the last 5 years I've felt something tugging on the other one, but it hasn't happened yet. And then I started seeing things, like feeling certain ways around certain people, and my Garland's reacting a certain way around certain people. Like, I just wish there was something more.
This is emptiness. It's like...
You could go a bunch of different fucking ways with it.
I mean, like, it would be something else if she's like, well, then after that, like, my window remained closed every time I slept for the next, like...
Is there somebody else
15
out there
years,
like her, and they found her and they stole that from
No,
her,
I think...
You know what I mean?
I mean, it could go a bunch of different ways. In my head, I just think it's saying that...
she was violated, and it's like...
Well, in this sense, she's saying she's been violated by an entity, that something out there picked up on her ability and just said, fuck you, and pulled it out.
And see, the thing is, you said the sex doesn't matter, but I was reading it as a guy at first, but then when it says my roommate came in, she had the cleaver. And then it's like, well, she's 25, she's working, don't get me wrong, a dude and a woman can be roommates.
But they were roommates.
But they were roommates.
They were roommates.
But then,
I don't want to get fucking lost talking about a shitty story forever.
Yeah, but
Which one out of all of the stories we read today did you like the most?
I liked the sugar one with the ant.
I'm also
That was
gonna
a pretty
say
good
I
one.
think Price of Sugar was
what was
my
the one
favorite.
you just read?
The one I just read.
No, the
Grandma's Light is Always On.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one.
I liked Price of Sugar.
Price of Sugar, Light is Always On.
I thought Why I Didn't Shower was disappointing, and I thought Tug was disappointing.
Tug was the worst.
I thought Smiley Face was pretty fun.
That was.
I just think, if you can write a fun story
How
in
about the
two...
crayon?
The crayons.
If you
were
could
good.
write a fun story in 2 pages, like the crayon or like the Smiley Face, it makes me feel less bad when they suck because the commitment level is less. I just read 5 pages about someone's fucking wibbins and feel like I wasted my goddamn time.
I feel like I
And the
wasted
end of the
my
episode
wibbins.
has now fallen flat because I read fucking Susie Garland's over here.
Are you
fucking
Are you
Dorothy
at the end
Gale?
of your Wibbins?
I'm
You're-
gonna
you're
fucking
witch
choke you
wibbins.
with my wibbins in a
You're
couple of
witch
seconds.
wibbins.
My women.
Anyway, Price of Sugar was the fucking highlight of the episode.
Yeah, that was a good one.
I
I
think
like
that
that
one
one.
and the
Let's
other one.
feed the elderly to our fucking insects, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Let's get them out of the fucking
Well,
White
they're
House.
racist.
Let's put them in the ground,
They
you know
are
what I'm
racist.
saying?
They are racist.
They racist.
Yeah.
That's because they didn't have their Wibbins.
They had the ribbons taken
All right.
away.
We're gonna end this shit pretty quick. Afternoon Groom, do you got any final messages for our audience?
Can I tell a quick story
Sure.
off the top of my head?
Oh, Jesus.
I'm ready.
See how it goes. Okay, if I can remember it correctly. I'll just wing it. So as a businessman, I usually travel to different hotels. So, this night was nothing new. So I'm at the hotel. I go in. I check in at the front desk, and normally, I go upstairs and I unpack.
Mm-hmm.
The hotel is pretty nice. So I'm just setting up everything. I get ready for my meeting the next day, and I put my clothes in my drawer. I turn on the TV. Then I notice on the news that there's an incident going on, that there's somebody escaped.
I
outside.
don't know this one.
The hotel manager at the front desk calls and says that they're going to shut the hotel down for a lockdown to have the police go through. So eventually they show up. They're going through the hotel, and nothing's new. The alarms are going off. The fire alarms are going off. So I'm just staying in my room. I'm getting ready for bed. I hop in bed, and I turn off the lights. I'm watching the TV. The glow of the TV's lighting the room, and then I see out of the corner of my eye, in the closet, there's a face. And then the door shuts. And I jolt out of the bed. And I run out of the room. And I realize that the man on the news was in my closet.
Wait, I've heard that one.
I think I read that literally 8 years ago.
Yeah, that's I've heard that one a bazillion times.
And he finally came out of the closet.
The man was R. Kelly.
Mm-hmm.
P. Diddy.
It was dirty.
I like
R. Kelly.
I like
With
R.
a
Kelly.
bottle
R.
of
Kelly.
baby oil.
It could be any of them. They could all be in there.
Yeah, could be Tom Cruise.
Oh, it could be Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise's mom's shoes.
Tom Cruise, get out of the closet. No,
No!
you can't make me.
And I pull out my gun.
Then I pull out my gun. All right, Midnight Bride.
Yes.
Can you tell me a shorter, less plagiarized feeling about how you feel about this episode, or any last minute thoughts that you want to leave our audience?
Oh, okay. I enjoyed the sugar. Okay.
We
my
all
thing
enjoy
is,
a little bit of sugar now.
My thing is respect your elders. Let's just respect their superstitions.
Yeah, keep your ghost lights on.
Keep your ghost lights on. Make sure you clothe the elderly. Make sure they don't run around naked.
fair.
If they're gonna run around naked, you
Make
It's
should
my
run
own
around
choice.
naked.
That's what I'm
Yeah,
gonna do.
but
I'm
don't-
gonna do that.
Don't let them shove letter openers up their ass. That's not
Well,
a
if they
good
want
idea,
to, it's their choice.
you
If they
know?
want to be a bee, they can be a bee.
Yeah, no. But for the most part, just like keep your lights on, and make sure you leave some sugar out for the ants, and
Feed your neighborhood spider ant.
Yeah, you're Spider-Man. But like, how about Steve Buscemi? Any notes from Steve Buscemi?
Nope. So here's what I'm gonna say to end the episode. All right, I'm gonna tell a quick story.
Okay.
So I'm a businessman, and I like to travel.
Oh
and
my
I-
god! Oh my
I
god!
just need something better than a fucking women's. If you're gonna write a story,
Oh my god!
make it good.